Pretty Little Liars, The Perfectionist sometimes deals with disturbing and problematic topics. We provided a list of content warnings in the episode description. Welcome to Dead Ends. I'm Emily.
I'm Brenton.
And we have 2 new episodes of The Perfectionists for you.
Yeah. They're still setting things up this week. It's kind of like still getting to know the characters, setting the lay of the land. It's not super interesting yet. And I have to remind myself, too, that this was not built to be 10 episodes.
No. I think also, so my big complaint right now solely is that they either needed to commit to Beacon Guard being this like almost impossible, always watching tech, or they needed to commit to it being just like a surveillance thing. But like the idea that Mona can talk to people in mirrors, but then we're not using that all the time. And it seems like in these episodes, she doesn't really know which mirrors, like because she's checking the mirror in her own apartment.
Right.
And we don't really know why. But it's like, I need to understand this.
And also how she's able to hack into things, which is under Beacon Guard systems.
While she's there.
Right. But you assume being watched.
But IT told her she was locked out and they were trying to get her logged back in. And so who locked her out for suspicious activity?
Yeah, or is this all a ruse?
What's going on?
Yeah. Beacon Guard is too bad. I guess that just too exactly what you're talking here. Beacon Guard is too much in the background and there's nothing like actually happening because of it. We just get like threatening shots of like a camera every once in a while.
Which would be great if like that's all they did.
Yeah.
But like then because they had Mona talk to the mirror the first episode so much, then she doesn't at all. And so does she know if the mirrors in her place are watching her? She doesn't unplug her Beacon Guard when Allison's there.
Right. And then it seems also there's at least some interesting things with her because it's like, yeah, it keeps us safe most of the time. Like, she's not trying to completely give away that she's under their employ or something is happening there. It's also, did they, like, cut her off? Some of that's at least interesting questions. Other things is just kind of like, eh.
Yeah. Well,
and the material impact, at least we know that they are Beacon Guard seems to be the source of the A movements, but then also the A-like movements in this episode also include physical things that have nothing to do with Beacon Guard.
Mm-hmm. So like Beacon Guard is watching them, and then also like is there like a separate A?
Right, which my money's on Booker doing all that stuff.
Doing the A stuff?
Yeah, especially at least the scoreboard, right? Because Claire goes, increase the pressure to Booker, who's the head of the security at Beacon Guard, and the only thing we see happen after that is the scoreboard. So, which also
and
makes
the rat in the trunk.
Right. So that actually makes me, going backwards, makes me laugh thinking of Dana Booker putting a rat in the the trunk of the car, and also that she's like this former FBI agent, but is writing catty A-like letters.
It's such a choice.
It's a real choice. Also, I can't believe that everybody calls her Dana when they should be calling her Booker. You name her Dana Booker and you call her Dana? Come on now.
It's interesting.
Yeah. I'll have you know what I put in my notes.
Officer Booker.
That's right. I mean, it's right there.
Officer Booker? Yeah. They're really good. It's good too, you know?
Yeah. No, it's Dana.
Through the booketer.
That's all right.
Uh-huh. There's lots of good book puns you could do.
Mm-hmm. The book, yeah,
book in jail puns, not like literary book puns. Let me rephrase. I'm like, you know,
Dana,
like Romeo
best
and
of
Juliet.
times, worst of times, Booker over here.
Wherefore art thou Romeo?
Well, yeah, maybe we'll see how.
Also, we've gotten no new books in this English class.
No.
I was like, okay, what's our next like literary like little like clue?
Nope, nothing. We don't even get any class time. We get class time and then gets interrupted because Mason sits in his seat.
Because Mason's a turd.
Mason's a real turd. At least that's interesting. I think the stuff they're doing with Mason being an absolute turd and being like, oh, I can just use this to manipulate you is at least fun.
I love the word.
Not like,
I don't know why I use the word turd. Like
he is a turd.
I'm not like, oh, he's being a little shit. Like, nope. It's like, this is PG-13 apparently.
Yep. Keep it clean for the family.
Says me never. Just the irony of me picking a polite word.
Mm-hmm. Not shit. You can't say that.
You can't say that here.
Mm-mm.
You ready?
I'm ready. Episode 3 is titled ... If One of Them is Dead. It's a PLL show. Get it? The Perfectionist plus House. I don't like the
sounded like
nods.
Tina Belcher.
Oh, yeah. That was actually, yeah, exactly. It's just my excited tone. The Perfectionist plus Allison are at her house. She unplugs Beacon Guard. See, that's the other thing. She just unplugs Beacon Guard. She wants to rehearse their story. Caitlin asks why she lied for them. She tells them about Beacon Guard being down at her house on the night. And then Ava asks, why did you help? Allison, but actually, what was your reasoning? Allison says people who use the system to abuse people are her enemy. Paraphrased it. Allison says no one saw that could prove this was a lie, right? And they all say no. Allison acts like nothing is out of the tells them to act like nothing is out of the ordinary, stick together, and don't do anything. Ava asks what she's going to do, and Allison says, nothing I haven't done before.
Which could mean anything, because good God, the crimes that girl committed.
I'm gonna disappear.
Vivian Darkbloom's back.
That's right.
That would have been so fun.
I hope.
Pulls out a fake passport.
She opens up the closet and there's the wig.
The brunette wig, yeah. Oh, next to her Lady Gaga, or her Lady G wig.
Vivian Darkbloom's in the past. I'm Lady G now.
That poor girl had the worst wigs on the show.
Oh, God. It was real bad. Especially when they put her next to, who plays Jenna again? I forget the actor's name.
Tammin? Is it?
Yeah, I think you're right. Tammin. And it's like, wow, but her costume's fine. Found a wig for her.
They did that girl so dirty throughout that entire fucking show. And then they had the audacity to bring her back and then dress her like she was running for fucking office.
Oh, it's terrible. She's.
I brought this up though when we talked about it. I think it was all fat phobia.
Yeah. No, 100%. But yeah, you're right. She looks like she's in a campaign ad.
Mm-hmm.
Of like she's just a.
Well, and they did her hair like that too.
Yeah. Booker meets with Claire and shows her the video of the three friends gathered in a central quad the night Nolan was murdered. They continue to meet there. It blows my mind. Claire asks why they would want to kill Nolan. Booker says he had a way of making them do what he wanted. Claire says it wasn't Caitlin. Booker says, well, she lied along with the rest of them, being at Allison's. And Claire says, use what you have to get them to talk, and I'll be the person that Caitlin can turn to and trust. She's not going to risk her family's reputation to protect Dylan or Ava, so she'll turn to me. The friends debate trusting Allison, and Ava wonders if they can even trust each other. Caitlin and Dylan worry about their secrets and wonder what to do. Caitlin has a care package drive at 2, and the other two had agreed to help under Nolan's orders previously. And they're like, wait a minute, but I think that's all off now, right? He's dead. Caitlin's like, this is important. My mom's in the military. This is important for me to do. Dylan wants to work on composing a piece for him and Andrew's anniversary while Andrew's out of town instead, and Ava has to record her interview for Vogue. Ava and Dylan both leave, much to Caitlin's annoyance. Mona gets pissed at Allison since she helped protect the Perfectionists and didn't. She goes, didn't we agree you'd go back to the old Allison? Allison's like, I need your help, though. I want to see what
Be
Booker...
cunty, bitch.
Yeah. You don't get yourself enmeshed with these kids. And Allison's like, I need your help. I want to see what Booker and Claire are up to. Mona's locked out of BHU due to suspicious activity on her account. She shows Allison the yearbook and says, this is the only data I have. At Allison's class, Mason sits in Nolan's seat, and Ava flips out on him to move, but Mason refuses. She even lunges at him and tries to hit him, and Dylan holds her back. Ava leaves the class, and Caitlin follows. Outside, Ava runs away, and Caitlin gets stopped by Booker and grills her. Booker says you three never spent any time together unless you were around Nolan. Was he holding something out? Was he holding something over you? Caitlin says no. Booker says something that destroyed your family got out, and then shows the photo of Caitlin's mom's affair. Caitlin asks where she got it. Booker says from Nolan's phone. Caitlin's
These
like, well,
adults are literally blackmailing a child. Well, she's not a child, but they're blackmailing someone in their like late teens, early 20s.
and if my theory's correct on like that Booker's the one like messing with them and doing these signs, like it's like hee.
Well, also like her mother's a politician. Like you wouldn't want to that's not the child you blackmail.
Oh,
They can afford the legal fees.
you're just a security guard at a college. Like I know it's an important college, but like,
But she was in the FBI, remember?
yeah,
Because
Yeah,
she
that's
harassed Ava.
fair. Right. But Ava didn't have her parents there.
No.
She's like, my specialty is being mean to children.
And then like, okay, so the Ava and
Went
like
to the Tanner
like
school.
her being like, oh, like, did your parents leave you money? We'll get to that later, whatever. But it's like, who cares? She
Right?
doesn't have her dad. They all left her.
Yeah. Okay. So my assumption there, though, is that she's like, oh, are you still in contact with your father? Was this something that potentially like Nolan had over you? And then Ava's like, no, I just love Nolan, and like life has thrown me a really rough really rough deck.
Mm-hmm.
Ava truly the
Only
one
victim.
Yeah. Like obviously Dylan had like culture, the society happened to him, and Caitlin as well, even though she's like well off. But you know, they both did some shit. Anyways, yep. Booker says it's from Nolan's phone. Caitlin's like, well, it's obviously fake, and Nolan wanted to help get it destroyed. Booker says, I know you'd do anything to get rid of this, and Caitlin tells her to back off and goes back to class. Allison meets with Mason at a park bench, and she's like, do you know why I wanted to see you? And he's like, yes, I do. I don't want to report Ava's behavior because she was really aggressive, though, don't you think? Allison's like, well, it was insensitive sitting in a seat. Mason's like, well, that's exactly what Nolan would have done. Allison's like, you were always second to him. And Mason's like, good-natured rivalry, and I got a lot of good stuff out of being in his group, but when we came to this college, all the benefits went away, and he took Caitlin, too. Dylan tries to compose music until his back hurts, and he puts an icy hot patch on. This comes up later. Ava's friend Zoe comes by, to which I misheard it, but I didn't want to look up the character, you know, in case something came up about it. So I'm like, Sully. I wrote Sully.
He's like, what was the character's name? And I was like, you mean Zoe? He was watching Monsters, Inc. while I was watching The
Right.
Perfectionists.
I was thinking of Sully Sullenberger, the hero of the Hudson.
Nope, you were thinking of Mike and Sully. I know
Okay.
it. I know you.
Yeah, I love that blue monster. Ava's friend Zoe comes by and finds her drinking before recording her Vogue interview. Zoe says, I've never seen you daydreaming before this week. And Ava's like, well, I've seen you wearing my coat around all the time. But like, okay, you know what? Actually, it looks good on you. You can keep it. Zoe's like, wasn't this from your dad? And Ava's like, I won't tell him if you won't. Isn't there like a sorority rush or something you should go to? And Zoe's like, actually, we don't have sororities here. But I'm worried about you. And Ava pushes her out and tells her to leave her alone. Ava continues to drink and records a sloppy Vogue interview. Zoe and Caitlin work the care package
I wish
drive.
they played with that more.
Yeah.
They didn't do it well. Like, they didn't give her anything to work with.
No, she's just like, her hair kind of gets disheveled.
Yeah,
and
and she could have really been like talking about her family, but not. You know what I mean? Like, they could have done something really fun with that.
Right.
Or like talking about how Dylan set it, or not Dylan, sorry, how Nolan set it up and now he's dead. You know what I mean? Like, they could have really, like, things obviously she wouldn't want shared, but like her just like getting drunk and being mean about it.
Yeah, or like your insecurities even too.
Yeah.
Of like, yeah, you wouldn't even want me anyway because of my family, and yeah. Nope. She's just like, what? Why am I the fifth one? And it just kind of starts to slur, and her hair gets a little messed up. And then it's like, oh, okay, it's fine at the end.
I've seen more.
She
more.
had enough time to record this again.
Yeah, I've seen better speeches or drunker speeches at weddings.
Yes, we have. Zoe and Caitlin work the care package drive, but Caitlin is distracted by Booker. Caitlin walks out to get away from Booker's prying eyes. She goes outside and meets with Claire. Claire gives her a wrapped box that she found in Nolan's room, and since it's Caitlin's birthday coming up, she assumed it must be for her. Caitlin says Booker came to see me today with some photos of my mom from Nolan's phone. Claire says, I've seen them. What can I do to help? Caitlin's like, oh, you can make sure no one else does. Like, you know, my mom is one of the biggest donors of the place, and Claire says, your secret's safe with me. Caitlin's like, thank you. If there's anything I can do. And Claire's like, actually, there is. Ava and Dylan are also suspects. Did Nolan have something on them? I want you to find out. Caitlin's like, well, I'll try. And then Claire's like, well, I know you. When have you ever tried and not succeeded? Mona codes when Allie surprises her. Allison asks her about Mason, and Mona says he's super smart and was friends with Nolan until Nolan probably stole his girlfriend away. Allison says his weepiness at the funeral makes me think he's guilty. Mona says she found out that the suspicious activity on the night of Nolan's murder came from the suspicious, internet activity came from one place. Caitlin goes to visit Ava and finds her place empty. She leaves the gift on her nightstand and decides to read Ava's journal, unprompted. And then decides after one page that she doesn't need to read it because it wasn't anything juicy. She says it's because she feels guilty, but it's like there wasn't any information.
Yeah, I was like, oh, girlie's writing down her feelings.
Yeah, so that's what you think, Caitlin. No, I can't do this. It's like you just didn't find anything. Ava writes about her dad being her best friend. So then she puts it back. Ava comes in and Caitlin gives her the gift. Ava opens it and tells Caitlin it means a lot that she took it to her, but doesn't tell her what it is. Caitlin goes to leave back to the drive, and Ava says, you know what? Thank you for bringing this over. I'm coming with you. Allison looks through the yearbook and finds a picture of Mason and Nolan after fishing. The boys. Dylan swipes through his iPad and finds a picture of him and Nolan post-coitus. He tries to swipe away, but can't. Booker comes in and asks to speak to him. She asks how bad the secret was and if it was enough to kill Nolan. Dylan says, I don't know what you're talking about. Booker says, I read your file. We're not so different, you and I. I'm from the wrong side of the tracks. You're from a small town. I'm from a small town. We didn't fit in, just like Jughead. You're not like Caitlin and Ava, and that should worry you. Is your secret safe with the others? Dylan says, I have to go, and shows Booker the door. Dylan arrives at the drive and tells Caitlin he felt guilty. And that's why he came down. And also, Allison told us to stay visible and act normal, like they always do. Mona continues to do her hacking business and eyes the chessboard while her Mac runs a password checker. Dylan and Ava find that they get along and start messing with Caitlin too, and they're having just a great time all together. And then Zoe's like, get back to work. And then they're like, you know what? We're having a great time together. Dylan's like, okay, I have to tell you all something. Don't be mad. I actually came here tonight because Booker got in my head and I was worried about you two turning on me. And Caitlin's like, well, she is trying to divide us. Ava's like, well, I have something to tell you both as well. They then get in Ava's car, which is the Mini Cooper. And she tells them she followed Nolan out to a cabin.
I love Mini Coopers. They're cute.
I know. It's great.
It's a cute little car.
Uh-huh. I mean, it seems fairly obvious that Ava would drive a Mini Cooper.
Yeah, I'm like a little white Mini Cooper.
If a Bug was still in production at that time,
yeah,
that'd be the other car. She tells them she followed Nolan out to a cabin and met with some blonde. Now, this is where I start to get annoyed with the episode. Has she never seen Taylor before? Does she not know what she looks like, which is batshit to me?
Did she not see all of her?
Maybe not.
She only saw the back of her head or something?
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. It's like she saw her through the window.
Just when there's so many pieces in front of people where they don't figure out it's Taylor, that drives me bananas.
Well, but they think she's dead. Like, she's not an option. In real life, you wouldn't think it was either, but because we're watching a mystery show, you're like, of course we know she's not dead. But even if we didn't, we would be guessing it was her because we know one of Pretty Little Liars' favorite twists is the soap opera twist of it's not actually her.
I was thinking more of like Allison, especially later. That one really bugs me. But this one, the three of them, I see your point completely. And especially if she only saw the blonde from like a ways away. Okay.
Yeah, because we'd think it was unbelievable if she was like, I saw a blonde, Taylor's alive. You'd be like, how'd you get there, girl?
Yeah, that's true.
There's so many blondes in the world. So many blondes.
All right. Yeah, fair enough.
Like if she was like, I think it's weird that he's cheating on me with someone who looks like his sister, that would be like, then you'd be like, okay.
Yeah. I'd go along with that. Ava says the gift from Nolan was a broken camera lens. Last year, when someone found out about Ava's dad, they exposed her to the whole school. The paparazzi found where she was. One guy got aggressive and Nolan smashed his camera, but Nolan kept the camera lens. He bought it later. He replaced it later for the guy, but he told Ava that it was a symbol for how much he wanted to protect her and how much he loved her. Red flags. And And maybe he was trying to protect Ava the night he was killed. Caitlin says maybe it gives us something to do at least. We'll follow up on this. Ava says, I know Allie said for us to not do anything, but we need to find out who killed Nolan before Booker takes us down. The three friends find the cabin is unlocked and enter it. This is the first of many instances in which you go, Jesus Christ, no one locks their doors.
No, it was before this. Because when
Ava's.
Caitlin walks into Ava's room and reads her, I'm like, you just left your door unlocked? You have a duffel bag of money in the ceiling panel.
Also, Booker walking into Dylan's place.
Well, and we know that Ava has a habit of this because we found Nolan hooking up with someone else in her room.
Right. Just leaving it open.
The model for her shoot or whatever, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, there is nobody runs into any locked doors until Mona.
But Mona can unlock a door.
That's right. She's got a credit card. She learned a thing or two from Spencer. Well, no, she didn't even. Spencer never uses a card, I don't think, does she?
I don't remember.
They find that someone followed them there to the cabin. They try to hide as the person enters with a flashlight on them. They find it's Allison. She's mad at them. Ava tells her that Nolan came here and met a blonde that kind of looked like you. See, this is where I think like Allison should start putting two and two together.
I think she does put two and two together here.
She doesn't. She doesn't until she looks at the rose and then sees the rose later in the photo on her gravesite. Last year's yearbook was connected to this place, supposedly.
There's a picture. No, it's the picture of Mason and Nolan. Yeah, it's at this cabin.
Yeah. How did she track where the cabin was? Anyways.
I think she looked up who owned a cabin, and I think that
it would be the Hotchkiss.
The Hotchkiss family owned a cabin, so then she went to the Hotchkiss family cabin.
Fair enough.
I was like, I track this. As a woman on the internet and a teenager on the internet in the early aughts, I could find anyone.
Yeah, fair enough. They look around the cabin for clues. Allison finds a yellow rose. Dylan finds a gum wrapper, and him and Ava exchange looks, but he doesn't tell Allison. They ask if Allie found anything, and she's like, hard to tell if you don't know what you're looking for. As they leave, Allison says she parked down the road. Best not to announce your presence when you don't know what you're in for. As the three friends drive away, Dylan smells a bad smell, but Ava and Caitlin don't smell it. Dylan's sitting in the back seat. Dylan says the gum wrapper was the same brand as the one in the woods. Ava asks why he didn't tell Allison. Caitlin says the best way to find out if someone is trustworthy is by trusting them. Dylan says, I don't know, you're right. I was just worried she was the one that Ava saw Nolan visit that night. Dylan tells them to pull over because the smell's so bad. They open the trunk and find Nolan's stash box. Inside it is a dead rat with a note that says, one of you is a rat. They all agree they're trying to that someone's trying to turn them against each other, and Ava chucks the rat into the woods. Allison goes back to the cabin and takes the rose. Goes back to the cabin and picks up the rose and takes it with her. Allison then looks through hashtags at her home on Nolan's funeral on Instagram. She eventually stumbles upon the gravestone for Taylor, which has a yellow rose near it. The three friends meet again in the middle of the quad. They're freaked out by the rat. Ava says we have to take on everything we're already doing and investigate this. She talks up Caitlin and is like, I know you can do it. You always have your life together. You're so good at this. And Dylan's like, I'm glad we're in this together. And they all agree. Dylan asks them to listen to his song. Ava re-records her Vogue interview to Clocks by Coldplay, being played by cello, and talks about not being perfect and overcoming hurdles and relying on others. We see Caitlin ignore a call from Claire. Mona gets access to some system when she answers her door to Allison. Allison's like, do you know why I faked my death? Mona's like, because everybody wanted to kill you, to which Emily then replied, because Mona told her to.
Like, literally, Mona was the one who was like, you should run away. Fake your death. Get out of here.
It's so funny. Allison's like, no, it was the town and like everything coming after me. I think
Mona.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, Allison was being a bitch.
Yeah. Oh, she's horrible.
She was horrible. Fine.
And Mona's like, get out of town.
I think it's so funny.
And then Allison's like, I think Taylor Hotchkiss might be alive. Caitlin walks home and Mason walks by with his friends and asks if she wants them to walk her home since there's a killer on the loose. She's like, no, and he continues on and throws his gum wrapper away. Misses the trash can. Caitlin notices the brand is the same as the one they found both in the woods and at the cabin, and then she makes a phone call that says, I think Mason was in the woods. The end.
Okay. How long until we all get caught with the lie about them being at Allison's house the night of the murder?
Oh, God. I think, I'm wondering if that's going to go the distance. Is that going to last the season? I mean, it's already, exposed, so to speak.
But it's not proved against. Like there's no evidence that they weren't there except for the
camera.
But that's them going home
Yeah, that's
at
true.
the end of the night.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna say it's gonna make it all the way to the end.
Okay.
This piece, they're gonna find something else on him.
Okay. Let's talk about Caitlyn real quick. So
Mhm.
Caitlyn dated. Well, I just forgot his name. Mason. And then she dated Nolan. But and they're sophomores, we assume. So
oh right. Yeah.
by end of and freshman year already, Ava was dating Nolan. So was this all happening in high school?
Yes. Yeah.
And
yeah.
so none of these men have fucking moved on?
No. Because Mason says they go to BHU and he stole Caitlyn. So yeah, that is absolutely like he's still annoyed from freshman year whenever Nolan stole Caitlyn.
But then they didn't date for very long if Ava's already saying that last year Nolan protected her from the paparazzi.
Yeah. So were they ever dating?
They were, because she's like, yeah, and Nolan forgot my birthday last year.
Oh, right.
So I guess maybe it was just like a short thing that then they just continued on. Like he just held it over her to then continue on the narrative so that he could date Ava without having to talk to his family.
Right. Because he assumed correctly that his mother would be like, I don't like that girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It would make this a lot easier in our brains too if they were juniors. But yeah, maybe they didn't date. Maybe they dated till like the spring quarter or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And if Claire is like so involved at BHU, that would also make sense that like, oh, you're dating this important person, bring your girlfriend over and all that sort of stuff, and would like bring her into the family.
Well, but they already knew her 'cause she watched her grow up. She tells us that.
Right,
but they're all they're local.
Yeah, this is me again, forgetting that they all went to high school together, like we just talked about.
Okay.
So yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Mason and Nolan. Let's talk about this. Oh,
sorry, real quick. This is also making me think that Caitlyn's family must be close by, except is her mom already in office?
Yeah, I think she's in the Senate or something.
Okay, so it's a re-election campaign?
I think so.
Okay.
That's my guess.
So that would maybe explain why her parents aren't around.
And like her mom's going to eventually run for president or something, I think is the vibe.
Right. Except Caitlyn is going to be the first athlete.
Olympian president. But we'll get that in the next episode.
Okay, sorry. Just clarifying that.
So Mason sits in Nolan's seat.
Mm-hmm.
Mason is an absolute douchebag.
Mason is the worst.
What's the vibe on Mason? We can touch more on him in the next episode. But what do you think his angle is? What's he trying to get at here?
I truly think he's just trying to take over Nolan's spot. He sees an opportunity, finds that Caitlyn is a worthy prize, and is upset at Nolan stealing her from him. So because she's an object to him, like 100%, like misogynist all the way through. Because like this is something that was stolen from him, and also woman, important family, all that good stuff. So I think Mason sees this as his chance to usurp Nolan, and when he was at the funeral, he's putting up a
like an act.
Yeah. Or I'm second guessing myself. It could also be that he truly did love Nolan. And is like, I'm going to be Nolan. I think Nolan would want me to be like him, essentially. I don't know. Either way, it could be him. Like, he could still love Nolan and feel like all these like horrible, jealous things about Nolan. And then now, I can take over I can become him.
Okay. He's literally littering all over campus if this is him. This boy drops his gum wrappers everywhere.
It's so funny. So
Such a weird thing.
And I guess it would also make sense if he's the one that has been following them. Okay. Because he could have been, this could be potentially that he was following Nolan to try and like either, out of some sort of revenge, or sees what Nolan was doing to, I don't know if he necessarily killed Nolan, but he could have been following them all and as a way to take away Nolan's power or something of like, oh, here's what he has on all these people. Here's how Nolan's manipulating them. What can I get over on Nolan to then be able to control these people? And I'm number one now. No more number two.
Makes sense. Okay, accept.
Yeah. So just the worst of the worst. I at least like that we get like this really shitty manipulative dude. And decoupled from a lot of the shitty biphobia stuff that we talked about with Nolan.
Yes.
Because, why don't,
well,
shitty
I
guy,
don't know, but then in the next episode, we get Andrew saying that he thinks he was flirting with him.
Oh, right. Is he just, I almost took that he's just trying to rattle.
That he was just like teasing Dylan.
Yeah. And again, it seems more like a sexual power dynamics than actual interest. And I think that's maybe where we can draw
but
the
once
line
again, isn't that still?
I guess that's where I'd like have to like tease out. I don't know. Is that
scene.
biphobia if it's like the worst cis straight man like manipulating people of like using sexual power dynamics over?
I don't think it is if it is a cis man using that. But I think because we don't have that clarification, it's hard to know.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
We don't really know.
No, we don't.
Let's talk about Zoe really quick. New character unlocked.
Yeah.
She goes through Ava's closet, and that's cool. But then I'm like, how close are they?
They seem not close at all.
But then at the same time, like close enough that she's going through her closet. That's not something you do with someone you're not close. Like I lived in a sorority house. There was a handful of closets I would search freely.
I wonder if it's like just a friend on like the dorm floor that it's like, well, we're close because
proximity.
Exactly. So like she comes over and hangs out and I don't hate it.
Yeah, because she's like, I've never seen you day drink before. So you would think like she knows her well enough to say, you wouldn't say that to a stranger or someone you're not super close with.
Yeah. I assume that maybe because they don't see Ava's not like, oh joy, my best friend is here. It seems like Ava has no friends like that.
No, I don't think Ava lets anyone get close to her.
Yep. So maybe that is like Zoe just like being like the nosy neighbor essentially, and then like Ava put up with her. But Zoe's just kind of she's kind of annoying.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? She gets annoyed at everybody at the care package. She just has no opportunity to have fun in these episodes.
No, this girl has no fun, apparently. Why would Caitlin not run after Ava? You know when she runs after her in the classroom and then she stops because of Booker?
She's a runner.
Running after Ava would make more sense because you're her friend.
Right.
So like stopping for Booker to me is like the red flag. I was like watching that scene and I was like, this doesn't make any fucking sense.
Why would you stop?
Why would you stop and why would you lie? Why wouldn't you just say, oh, we got upset because, like someone sat in our old friend's seat and it really hurt us.
Yeah.
We all grieve differently.
They're not very good at this either.
No, they're really bad at this.
And we learn how
she was raised by politicians. You should be better at lying, girl.
We learn just how bad Caitlin is at this in the next episode. She's kind of just the worst.
Why is Booker looking into Nolan's like 3 friends and only those 3 when like Mason's right there? Also, but when it seems like they're like this entire school is filled with, it's like the 7% or whatever. It's filled with the high performers and the most talented. So of course, like the son of the like people who basically fund the school is going to have a target on his back. 100%. And he's an asshole.
He's the worst.
And he's in sports. Like, of course, like people are like looking at him like you either idolize him or you hate him. Why would Booker be like, it's one of these 3, obviously? Yeah, like, it makes no fucking sense. Also, like, could any of them even fight him over the edge? Like, what?
I don't think any of them could.
I think as a unit, they couldn't have taken him off the edge.
No, it's pretty big. Yeah, I don't know why you don't look at Mason. He's right there.
How did the picture of Dylan and Nolan get on Dylan's iPad?
See,
the A stuff is weird in this one. Yeah. I'm going to call it A stuff because we don't have a
term for it. It seems like a beacon guard thing, right? Because it's all technology stuff. And the way Claire, again, this is all coming from my thing of like Claire being like, turn up the heat. The to Booker, and Booker going after them. And she also tells her in this episode, do whatever you have to.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my assumption, is this is all coming from Booker.
So did Booker steal the stash box before everyone could get there? And how would Booker have known it was there? If Ava was like the one who was like, oh, I know where he kept his stash, wouldn't that be more of like a
Mason thing?
A Mason thing?
I could see that being Mason. But then, like, is Mason also hacking into everything through Beacon Guard? Or is this all a Ray thing? Get to him in a sec.
Well, he's in the next episode. Yeah, we'll talk about Ray there.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well,
it's a little vague and goofy at the moment.
As it should be in the middle. Unfortunately, I don't think we get a conclusion, so...
Yeah, I don't know.
Any final thoughts on this episode?
No, not really.
Okay.
All right, episode 4, The Ghost Sonata. Allie tells Mona about Ava following Nolan to the cabin. Allie sees a missed call from Emily and a text from her saying, don't ignore me. Mona says Taylor isn't alive. This isn't Rosewood. Allison says, how much is Beacon Guard helping us? I had the note written on my wall after all. Mona says, it's safe as far as I know, and there were witnesses that saw Taylor die. Allison says there wasn't a body, and people say they only saw someone jump into the river off the bridge. I have a hunch the same one that told... I have a hunch. It's the same one that told me you were alive when everyone thought you were dead. To which you were like, that was Mike.
Well, Mike knew she wasn't dead. Well, Mike knew she wasn't dead initially.
Mm-hmm.
Because Mike didn't know what happened for a while.
Held out hope.
But he also didn't tell anyone.
No, he didn't. He just collected blood.
Well, he was trying to get rid of the blood, I think, right? Or no, was he... What
was
he doing?
He was like making some exchange with it.
Yeah.
The three friends wonder if Mason is like them and Nolan had something on him. Caitlin misses a text from Claire saying it's important, we need to talk. Mason comes up and says, hey friends, no secrets between friends or fake friends. I want what Nolan had and I'm willing to use whatever I have to keep it. Caitlin, I missed you and your mom. And Dylan, write my papers. Dylan's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Mason says, you're still with your boyfriend, right? Then it's the same arrangement as last year. Mona shows Allison that she's inside the core of Beacon Guard and Mona's system that she developed to choose and predict smart candidates, I think is what it is being overwritten by someone and is looking for someone with new criteria, and she can't figure out the criteria. It's found 2 people so far that match, Caitlin and Allison. Mona is Caitlin's advisor. Each staff member apparently gets to advise a student, so she's going to go snoop about what Caitlin and Ava have in common, or Allie have in common, sorry. And then another person comes up, Ray Hagedorn, as a match, and they have no clue who that is. Mona meets with Caitlin to discuss her goals. Mona says, you remind me of a friend of mine, Allison De Laurentiis, and Caitlin's like, I didn't know you know each other. Mona says, what do you think of her? Caitlin's like, well, she seems intuitive, loyal, and takes chances on people when she doesn't have to. Mona's like, wow, those are the 3 comments I wrote about you after our initial interview. Okay, goodbye, and dismisses her. What did she say in that initial interview that made her go, Caitlin takes chances on people?
Well, she said puts herself out there.
Oh, yeah, puts
She's
herself
like,
out there.
So she puts herself out there is what Mona had said.
Mona tells Allison she met with calls Allison and tells her she met with Caitlin, and when she gets a chat from her chess partner, named Bad Bishop, she excitedly plays, and
Woo!
Phoebe, I know, naughty Bishop.
Nothing gets me going like Bad Bishop.
Let me tell you, a naughty Bishop.
I'm just imagining you like in your underwear with the bishop.
Where should I go, milady? Only diagonals. She excitedly plays, and Bad Bishop asks if she's thought about their offer. The janitor working on the light above her drops his screwdriver, and it almost hits Mona. It like pierces into the table. Andrew comes back and wants to take Dylan to see a showing of Mommy Dearest, and also met Mason at the library today. He was hot, and I think he was flirting with me, so you better stay straight, Dylan. And Dylan's like, whoa,
You better stay straight was horrible phrasing, baby.
That was terrible
you
phrasing.
You better act right.
Act right is what I meant to say. Straight and narrow. Oof.
I knew what you meant, but I was like, that's not, I think, great.
I don't think that's what he'd be telling him. Ava gets stopped by Booker. Booker says she pays her tuitions with cashier's checks. And Ava's like, well, I keep my money careful. And Booker says, well, if it is your money. And then Allison comes up and asks to speak to Ava later. And Ava walks off. Allison stops Booker and asks what she's doing. Booker's like, I don't know why you're sticking your nose in all this business. Allison's like, I'm here to help these kids. Booker's like, I haven't figured you out yet, but I'm gonna. Caitlin finds Jeremy at Claire's place as he's giving a research proposal to her. Red flag, red flag. Jeremy says this is a great excuse. We now get to meet each other. And
why is that a red flag?
Because, like, what is he doing there?
He's getting funding.
I know, but, like,
he goes to this. They met through the school, I'm pretty sure.
It's a little convenient, don't you think? What
project
is he?
They didn't know she was going.
I know, but what project is he working on?
Isn't he working in medical?
Data.
Uh-oh.
Large data.
I thought it was medical. Like medical data. Am I just making that up?
I don't know if it could be. I remember it was large data research is what it. So I'm wondering if it has something to do with Beacon Guard.
Ooh.
He's British after all.
Do you think he's like using bioinformatics to like match people?
Oh shit! Based on DNA. Uh-oh. Watch out. Jeremy's like, wow, this is a great excuse now. We can say that we've actually met each other so we can like go out. Claire comes in and Jeremy's like, oh, we just met. He's apparently a large data research analyst and got funding from Claire. He leaves and Caitlin tells Claire from the school. And this is and Claire tells him that is
maybe I just decided he was in medical because he has a British accent.
I thought in the first episode he like
it was at the hospital or something.
Wore scrubs. But he I think he says large.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I think you're right in this episode, but I was just like, this job.
What is he doing? What is his job?
You research at hospitals, I guess. You know?
Yeah. Allison does at least clarify her job. She's like, I'm a TA, remember? Not a professor.
Well, and then Mona is like, oh, everyone oversees some students.
Which is really funny. Just divvy it up to everybody, even Mona. Caitlin tells Claire that she can't spy on Ava and Dylan. Claire says, I thought you wanted justice for Nolan. Caitlin says Booker's harassing the wrong people. We were all together at Allison's house. Claire's like, the entire night, huh? Caitlin says, that's right. We all want justice. Claire says, I hope that's true. For your sake, you can show yourself out. Caitlin leaves and Claire calls Booker and tells her that Caitlin lied to her face. Turn up the heat. The three friends meet and Caitlin says, not going to let Mason get one over on us. I'm going to hang out with him. I grew up with him. He won't be dangerous to me. He trusts me. I can use it to get the truth from him. And if he says something, we can turn it over to police. Dylan and Ava agree this is a great plan. But say, if you come up with a plan for something for us to do, let us know. We'll be there to back you up. Caitlin looks at the scoreboard that they're on the track and a message that says, I see a rat. The three friends meet with Allison and tell them they think it's Mason doing all this. Allison eyes an envelope from Rosewood Law and Mediation. Dylan asks if the blonde and Mason are working together. Allison asks, who's the rat? They're silent. She's like, if Mason knows the secret, he has power. Secrets have a way of keeping you close, and it's better you tell each other. I would know, which I capitalized on my notes. Caitlin spots a book on Allison's shelf, Ozma of Oz, which belonged to Taylor. Allison's like, oh, I found those all in the basement. They find that Taylor changed the maps at the beginning of the book. Huh. Allison brings the book to Claire. Claire says she can keep it. Taylor could overlay her own personal geography on the world and was trying to find the Emerald City and thought it was just outside in those woods. Claire tells Allison about how everyone tells her how strong she was when Nolan died and when Taylor left and when which you pointed out. You're like, she said Taylor left?
She always says when Taylor left.
And when her husband was shot down in an alley, and that's when she became Batman. Allison asks, is that why Beacon Guard? Because of your husband? Claire's like, that was the idea, but not the result, huh? Ava shows Dylan a mock-up of her show, and she wants him to play violin there. Or play cello there, and he's like, how about a violin? And he shows her like one for an pricing for an electric one. It's like, can you afford that? And she's like, yes, I'll figure out some way to cover it. They talk about secrets vaguely, about having them, and Ava says, you can tell me, I won't judge you, and Dylan says, I have to tell someone else first. Andrew stares in a medical form for Dylan as Dylan comes in and finds him reading it. Andrew's like, the doctor's report here says that you have a pinched nerve in your shoulder, you need to rest it. And he's completely mad at him, and it's like, you need to postpone the audition. Dylan says they'll move on to the next person, and Andrew says, is there anything else you're lying to me about? Dylan says no. Andrew says, honesty was all I asked for when we became exclusive. Dylan says, okay, well, there's actually something else. Caitlin gets a text from Jeremy to meet in 30 minutes for a coffee date. She then spots Mason and tells Jeremy she's stuck in the library. She gets a text that says, I see you, signed with an A, and then she turns around and sees it's Ava. Very cute. Ava waves and sends another text that says, go for it, but don't leave the student union. Mason invites Caitlin to sit down, and Ava texts Dylan, it's happening. Dylan told Andrew about cheating on him. Andrew is, of course, hurt and tells Dylan that no one didn't love you. He just wanted to do it to prove he can do it. And he didn't love you, and you still did it anyway. You knew that. You knew that as well, Dylan, and you still did it anyway. Dylan's like, you told me I could tell you everything. And Andrew's like, well, I overestimated myself, and I overestimated you, and then leaves.
Yeah, I'm like, good God. No, I want you to be honest with me, but I'd also like for you to not fucking cheat on me.
Don't throw that in my face,
I didn't know these
Dylan.
were mutually exclusive.
Yeah, it's fucked up, Dylan. Allison and Mona meet, and Mona can't find Ray. He's not on a faculty or a student. Allison saw a picture of Emily on Instagram and the girls, and she stopped wearing her wedding ring. Allison has the most divorced dad energy possible. Mona says, you moved across the country. You knew how this was going to end. Allison's like, I thought I could maybe win her back after living an honest life, but it was just hard being near her when we couldn't be together. Mona says, I think you knew that you moved on. You're also missing, and then tells her she's missing one of the Oz books on the shelf, and it's the Patchwork Girl of Oz. She asks what to do about Bad Bishop. Caitlin asks Mason why he asked her if she needed an alibi. He's like, old habits, I wanted to protect you. Caitlin says, do you need an alibi? And Mason's like, I was at a party at the boathouse all night. Caitlin says, you can tell me the truth. He says, I was going to say the same thing to you. I know everything about you and Nolan, including the British guy that you're dating. I don't like him for you, by the way. I'll give you a call tomorrow and you'll answer, right? He leaves and Ava comes up to ask what he said, and Caitlin is shaken but says he was at a party all night. He didn't say anything else. Ava says, let's listen to the recording, because Caitlin was recording the conversation, and see what he said. Caitlin says, drop it, and leaves. Ava visits Dylan the next day to tell him Caitlin lied to her. Dylan says, Andrew and I are in a fight. I told him my secret. Ava asks if he wants to get drunk. Dylan calls Caitlin so they can talk, but gets her voicemail. Caitlin runs track and spots Jeremy in the stands looking annoyed. He asks about her being at the library.
He looks like Edward Cullen.
He really does.
Say it.
Just standing there.
But like Robert Pattinson, Edward Cullen, not whatever you thought Edward Cullen looked like in your head.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's the only Edward Cullen is in my head.
Honestly, the Edward Cullen in my head probably looked more like Jeremy.
Oh, yeah, I could see it.
I don't know, like, for sure if that matches the description, but I just feel like that's what he looked like.
I've just never read the book, so I don't have...
Oh, you poor thing.
They're
best read at the age of, like, I don't know when I read them, junior high maybe, whenever they were coming out.
I remember... So I guess that would make sense, because I remember my friend reading it freshman year? And I just called it Apple Holding, because it had the thing up front.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I ever asked her what it was about.
It was so obviously Mormon even then that I was like, why is she like ordering a soda on a plane? You know what I mean? Like, it was,
right.
like, not that people don't drink sodas on planes, but it was just like certain things that you're just like, oh, this is so Mormon. Like she's like, my fancy outfit, I'm trying to look good, and it's like a floor length denim skirt and a button up top, and you're like, I don't think. Meanwhile, I'm like reading it in my like booty shorts because I was a little
what were they called? The ones with the roll up.
My Sophie shorts.
Yeah.
My t-shirt where you used to get the back of your too big t-shirt with a hair tie and have like you'd tighten it on you and then you tuck it under so then it looked like a little crop top.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm. Quite the rage.
Mm-hmm. You're like, Bella could use to look a little more like me.
Exactly. I'm like, I bet a 119-year-old vampire or whatever he was, or 98 or something.
But everybody is absolutely, at least in the movies, falling over themselves in love with Bella.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's weird because in the books, her and Edward have more personality in the books.
Oh, okay.
Edward is actually like kind of funny in the books, at least like from what I remember. Like he's like
so
snarky.
Freaking serious in the movies.
Like they go to prom and she's like mad they're going to prom and he's like, why are you mad? Like, where do you think we were going? She's like, I thought you were going to turn me into a vampire. And he's like, you thought you had to get, like, it's a black tie affair? Like, what do you mean?
I thought we'd do it up.
Yeah, we're going to do it
pretty
nice. You know, and that's like, I saw a TikTok the other day about that. And I was like, oh, So I'm pretty sure that was how it went versus like in the movie where she's just like awkward.
Oh, yeah.
Not that they don't have
Okay.
their own very special charm.
I do. This is Spider Monkey. I love it.
Sorry, back to this.
Yep.
Meanwhile,
Jeremy
back at the
asked
ranch.
about Claire being at the library. He went there when she texted him and found the library closed. She said, I had a change of plans and don't get suspicious about this. And Jeremy's like, well, I wasn't until now.
Why was the library closed on this campus?
He said something about like you were there like spraying pesticides.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like something like, oh, you were there with like the exterminators. He says something like that. Jeremy's like, you're still acting like someone's controlling you, Caitlin. She says, you shouldn't be here. Just go. Caitlin sees Mason wave, not Nolan. That'd be different. Caitlin sees Mason wave from the top of the stands.
It's a Ravenswood episode.
I know. Oh, spooky. Uncle Raymond? Caitlin visits Allison and tells her about Jeremy and Nolan knowing about him and wanting Caitlin to help cover for him going out with Ava. Caitlin is worried Jeremy will go after Mason. Allison's like, I was in your position once and I lied because keeping her safe was more important to me. Just dishing out horrible advice, Allison. Mona continues to search for Ray. Because what did we learn from PLL? That you never lie to your partner because then they always get in worse trouble anyway. Mona continues to search for Ray. She gets a message from Bad Bishop, who asks for her to finish the game in person. She tells them to Crimson Eagle, which I assume is a place.
I think it's the coffee shop.
And then Bad Bishop says, perfect, and Mona's all happy about this.
And she's supposed to bring a chess piece to put on her table so they know who she is.
Ooh, it's like you leave a little rose on there.
Which chess piece would you take?
Oh, what would I take? I'd take the rook, maybe. Or a queen for a queen.
That's what I was like, really? You're missing a great opportunity.
Yeah, I did miss a great opportunity. I would have been like, you would have shown up and been like, he brought a rook.
You would have been like, which one is that again?
I like castles. It moves so good because it can move up and down.
I do like the castle.
Yeah, that's why I chose it. I was like, oh, it's fun. And I'm like, the queen is fun and abstract, but it's so powerful. It's like maybe one of the other pieces is a little more fun, but I'm like, no.
I'd bring a pawn just to tell you exactly.
This is exactly how I feel about you right now.
You could be disposable.
You could be disposable. You can make it all the way and become a queen.
Yeah, or you could check the king.
That's right.
I don't really know how bad you'd have to be for that to happen.
Leave a king in the corner while a pawn is slowly approaching. It's like the scene in Austin Powers with the steamroller, and he just like lies they're going super slow, and the guy lies there just yelling.
I love it.
Yeah. Ava comes home and hears a music box and finds one on her bed. She looks around for her dad. Flashback. Her dad and her visit BHU together. Ava calls the students there the 7% because only 7% of applicants get accepted. Ava tells her dad that with everything going on, maybe she should be close to home. And he's like, no, this is where you belong, far away from my mess. Mona pockets a night chess piece. She looks in the mirror and taps it and then checks behind it. Her computer pops up with a match for Ray, who lives in the Holdman Annex on campus. Or not, that's at least where she tracks it to. Allison drinks wine, and we see on her laptop she wrote an unsent email back to Emily that says, I'm sorry I haven't returned your call. This last step is hard for me. I love you. She hits send and signs the divorce papers and cries. Allie goes over to the Oz books on the shelves and picks up Ozma and looks at the map. She thinks about what Claire said about Taylor and has an epiphany. Allie drives to McDevitt's quarry and finds it chained up, so leaves her car and hoofs it. Ava listens to the music box while she draws a sketch of her childhood photo. She gets a knock at the door and hides the box. It's Caitlin. And Caitlin says she lied about Mason and says she's the rat. She says she knew when Nolan and Ava had started dating, everything about her and her family, and she found it all on the internet, much to Emily's point just a minute ago. And then once someone heard about it from her, it spread like wildfire all over the campus, and I'm so sorry, Ava. And Ava gets mad and tells her that she stole away her fresh star here and got shamed over and over again, and then yells at Caitlin to get out. Andrew packs his bag and leaves. Caitlin leaves a voicemail for Jeremy, apologizing for lying, and tells him she had a panic attack from all the things going on at school, but she's fine now. She then hangs up and cries.
Well, she tells him that they need to not see each other, basically. Like, she'll call him when she's, like, not busy, and, like, there's too much going on.
Got it.
So she's, like, basically, like, breaking up with him or, like, distancing him.
Ugh. This old trope. Ava pulls her go bag full of cash out of the ceiling and puts the music box inside. Mona goes to the Holdman Annex, which looks run down. She finds the chains
Well, it's
are undone.
condemned. It's a condemned building.
It's condemned? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It
said that even when she looked it up.
Oh, I didn't see that. She finds chains undone on the front. I'm like, it looks abandoned.
It's supposed to be demolished. Like, it's set for demolition.
Got it. I'm like, it looks abandoned anyway. She finds chains undone on the front. She then finds a room 214 and knocks to no answer. She uses the classic credit card trick to get in the locked door. She finds a room full of ornate gadgets and machinery. She also finds clippings of papers on the wall about Nolan. And then she also sees one for a hacker arrested in Beacon Heights. Maybe it's this guy. There's also one for Taylor's suicide. Mona turns around to the janitor from earlier in the episode and he shuts the door. Allison walks up on a camper. She continues to ask if someone is there. To no answer, she decides to go inside. It's unlocked. She finds a lot of red liquid coming out of a cabinet. She opens and sees it's a jar knocked over. And there's also the Patchwork Girl of Oz that falls out of the cabinet. Taylor walks in and Allison tells her to stop. The jar falls over and Taylor runs and locks Allie in the camper. The end.
Okay. First of all, I have to say, Mona and Allie's makeup, like their eyeliner, looks really good in these episodes. I was very impressed. I was noticing that in these.
There you go.
I mean, not that it's just, it's more modern. So I'm like, oh, their eyeliner looks really nice.
Snaps all around.
What's Mason's goal besides being an asshole? Like,
I think
does he have all of Nolan's info? Did Nolan keep everyone's secrets in a fucking Google Doc or something? Like,
that is the thing.
He's like, dear diary.
How did they get all this?
He's just got like a list of like things to hold over people. He's like, my blackmail list.
Right, exactly. And he just got
like a little link to evidence. Right. He's very organized.
He is very organized. And then he just got access to his drive. So he's like, haha. He's hey, Nolan, can you share that with me? And Nolan's like, oh, sure. Yeah, so first question, I do assume that he's just using it to take Nolan's place and that he can then use these people to have the life and vision that he wants because he was always number 2 to Nolan. So now Mason can be the big popular guy on campus with the fancy girlfriend and friends that he always hangs out with, even though he already has friends. I don't know about that one. He at least has someone to do his homework and the girlfriend. He wants to control Caitlin and he wants someone to do his homework and Ava's just there. I don't think he wants anything to do with Ava. And then I don't know how he got all the evidence. It is very confusing. That especially this also proves that they were kind of right when they're like, we need to find where he hid all our evidence.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of that lived in his head.
Nope. Turns out he must have written it in.
Yeah.
Mona?
I'm just thinking of the diary. Dear diary, had sex with Dylan today.
Here's a selfie.
Yeah.
Mona does an ad hoc Myers-Briggs, I guess technically. Like it's almost like that's what her software did.
You are
her software slays, by the way.
Direct quote. Put it on the box.
Thank you.
I had nothing to add.
I thought you were going to say something before I said that.
I was going to try and make a joke, but I couldn't remember the
Myers-Briggs.
Myers-Mig.
An ENFJ.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay. Caitlin and Allie are intuitive, loyal, and they put themselves out there.
That's right.
What? And so does Ray? Question mark.
I always said that about Ray as soon as I saw him.
This man almost took Mona out with a screwdriver on accident.
He's puts himself out there.
He's put himself out there.
What a move to introduce yourself.
It's like we need to have some character traits for this man. I know. We'll tie him to these two. But like, what is Ray doing? Is he working with Taylor? Is he just hanging out here because he didn't want to pay rent? Is it the only place that doesn't have beacon guard? So like he's like hidden, or is he a part of beacon guard? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming he's not because the hacker, the paper
hacker
on the wall of hacker getting arrested, I assume is him.
Mm-hmm.
And that he did something. So maybe he's underneath beacon guard's thumb. Like they use him and they're like, we'll put you up in this like shitty place off campus. It's going to be condemned.
I was wondering if he was there because there weren't cameras. Like if beacon guard wasn't there.
Yeah, that could be too. That he's like, I got arrested because of beacon guard and now I'm here to take it down.
But
so
then,
I think he's going to be good on the whole, but
why would they rehire him to be a janitor if he was arrested?
Is
for
he even
hacking.
hired? Because she didn't find him on the payroll.
No, she said she didn't find him as a teacher or a student.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because you wouldn't use that to test your janitors.
Right.
And then you might, like, then he got added in.
Mm-hmm. Or someone new?
Yeah, I don't know. Or did he add himself?
Who ran? Is Booker the one that changed it and was like, I need this program to find someone loyal? Well, because, yeah.
Or did he recently get the job there and before he'd just been hiding out? I don't know.
Right. I am assuming that it was planned of like whatever he's been doing and he's been there for a while.
Okay.
And he's trying to dismantle the system. Now, who changed Mona's program to then be like, I'm looking for someone loyal, intuitive, and puts themselves out there? But, like, I guess loyal would make sense to try and track people who the system would say is loyal. Because then that means they would like close ranks. I don't know.
But loyal to who?
Yeah.
Loyalty is a great trait but not if you're not loyal to the cause. You know what I mean?
This is the problem with large language models, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get like this stuff returned and it's not going to be like really accurate to like what you need to find out of the query.
Mm-hmm.
You can put a bunch of data in the system, but if you extract it the wrong way, it's not going to give you much. It's going to give you Ray. And you just find out that Ray's one of the girlies.
He's just a girl.
That's right.
Okay. Who's Mona's chess buddy?
Oh, I want to know.
And will she make it to her coffee date? And is it Ray?
I hope so too. Oh, if Ray might be the chess buddy, huh?
But he was messaging her while Ray was working above her.
Oh,
actually.
That's true. I wonder if it's a new character, like someone that works at Beacon Guard, maybe? I don't think it's going to be this like, ooh, perfect person for Mona to go out with, but maybe it is like we get a new love interest for a little while. I'm assuming it's a new character, Naughty Bishop.
The door is 214. The locker at the end of PLL was 214. There's been lots of 214s. Do you think it means anything?
I don't know. Is there like an angel number or something?
I don't know.
Those are all different,
I always think of angel numbers as like 333, 22. Do you know what I mean? Like repetitive ones, but that's not 100% true.
I don't think 214 is a Stephen King reference. Is it?
If anyone knows the reference, tell us in the comments.
Yeah.
If anyone has a guess, maybe it's just Valentine's Day. It's about love.
Oh, there you go.
That's why Arya put a comic book and Mona found a lair. It's always about love.
Right. It's 217. Or 237.
Could just be a nod to it. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, hey.
Yeah, maybe. But yes, those are very loving actions, let me tell you.
That's what I always say.
Mm-hmm.
Let's quickly talk about Allie. Emily and Allie, what do we think happened there?
It seems like Allie ran away again. It seems
like things were already... Allie says like, oh, I couldn't stay if we weren't going to be together.
I'm wondering, okay, so the divorced dad energy that's radiating off this is setting my just off the charts here. So going by genre, it's like, if only I'd really like stuck it out and like really put in the work, but instead they like feel bad about themselves and then so hit the bricks and ran. That's what I'm assuming.
Will Allie have any visitation or custody? Because are those children her? Who's on the birth certificate? Also, do Emily and Allie know that the babies are Wren's? Did Alex tell Spencer that? She tells Spencer she turned him into a diamond.
She only says it to herself.
She says it to the babies. So they don't know who the father is?
So they're going to have to wait until the babies like can really vocalize this in a few years.
Because the babies are going to tell them?
Yeah, because the babies are going to remember.
Of course.
And so they all find out.
It's because everyone remembers things from being an infant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Watch the movie Look Who's Talking.
Love that for you.
Yeah.
He's so pretty and he's so dumb.
I don't think they know, though.
Okay,
that's pretty wild. Where is Ren, by the way?
Where's Ren?
Yeah,
dead.
The diamond.
Oh, the diamond. I was like, he's dead. I don't know where Ren the diamond is. Huh, I hope the girls get it. That's their dad.
Mm-hmm. Meet your father.
Speaking of fathers, did Ava's dad visit? Or is it the A character? Or is it something like planted?
Oh.
Do you think it was
Yeah,
her
I'm
dad?
assuming it's a...
Or someone for her dad?
I'm assuming it's someone trying to... Well,
It's got a note from him on the back.
yeah. And it was like a kind of a nice gesture. Like there's nothing else tied to it.
Just a picture of her as a little girl with a note and then the music box.
So maybe he did. Maybe he did come by.
So Dylan tells Andrew that he cheated on him. Which we're glad he was honest.
Yep.
We're sad he did it.
Mm-hmm.
Does this mean he doesn't have a secret anymore?
No.
And so does that mean Mason has nothing left to hold over him?
Yeah.
And so what is that? How is that going to play out?
Yeah. Mason might turn violent on him. I could see that happening. Because what else can Mason do? I think we're going to get Mason's whole arc as being like controlling them wrapped up in the next couple episodes.
Okay.
And there's going to be some sort of fallout, or, maybe we'll also find out that he held something over, that Nolan also held something over him, maybe. But, yeah, I think we're going to get the Mason stuff wrapped up pretty fast.
So Caitlin low-key ruined Ava's life.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And her mom's affair thing was held over her. Dylan's big thing was only cheating, but that's the only lie he's got. Yeah.
One incident.
And all Ava did was potentially lie to the FBI, which, girl, fine.
Yeah. Go get it.
It's a girl boss move.
Yeah.
Well, but in the sense that, they left her with it. They did leave her with nothing besides a duffel bag full of cash. And why would she tell anyone?
Yeah.
So
poor Ava, truly.
Poor thing. Do you think there's anything else that can be held over her?
I don't think.
I think she's pretty clean.
Yeah. Only her love of Nolan, really. Because only how much she loves him.
Yeah, her secret relationship with him.
Yeah.
That she was like the other woman, if anyone finds out.
Yeah. And yeah. Because, the worst thing that has happened to her now is that she loved this horrible, horrible man.
So Taylor is living in a camper van in the woods, which some of us would be so lucky as to own property.
Van down by the river.
In multiple places. She had a cabin. She's got a camper van in the woods.
This is what happens. These Nepo babies.
She's got her one book.
Yeah, she only chose the fourth book.
Yes. I don't know enough about the Oz books to really understand the relevance of that. If anyone does, or if they have theories, leave us a comment. Okay. Tell us what you know.
So I did look up Ozma. And Ozma is Dorothy goes back, finds she's not in Oz, but in some adjacent oh God, what am I trying to say? But more like a state or something,
okay.
Where you could cross a border and get to Oz.
Okay.
And so Ozma is a princess there that is trying to, I think, get back the throne or something. And so they work together to get back to Oz.
Rightful princess back on the throne. Love that.
Yeah.
We love that kind of narrative.
That's right.
I
don't know about the patchwork girl, though.
So we're trying to bring, maybe it's the narrative there because that's what she left the map in, that we've got our Dorothy is Allison and that she's trying to go help the princess that is Taylor regain her space in society by dethroning her mother and the beacon guard.
I think that's it. I don't know about, we'll have to look up Patchwork Girl. So
Allison, true to Pretty Little Liars, is hiking in the woods in heels. You can't have Pretty Little Liars without these girls wearing I think they're heeled boots or something. They're not stilettos, so it's not the worst. But it's a real woods again, so it's, we're not just on the Warner Brothers lot, I don't think. But so
it is not the Jungle Cruise woods.
So she finds Taylor. Then Taylor somehow locks her inside. I have some questions about how that works, but you know what? Not my burden to bear. The locking and unlocking of doors in this show is becoming my biggest sticking point, which is such a weird hill to die on. But I'm there's a murderer, y'all leaving your doors unlocked. Meanwhile, Allison walks into a camper, which was sketchy, but whatever. And then she gets locked inside. And weren't there two doors on the camper? Wasn't there one down at the other end too?
It was a hitch.
Oh,
trailer, so I think there isn't one. I
Okay,
don't think
okay.
there's another door.
okay. I thought I saw a second one. That's why I was like, but maybe not. Maybe it was like a window.
Could be. Yeah, because it's one of the toe ones.
Mm-hmm. But so, and then Taylor runs. Where's Taylor gonna go? She's gonna have to come back, right? If I was Allison, I'd just wait there.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's got all her stuff there. She's got the 4th book. What is she gonna do without her book? Gotta come back for it.
Do you think we're gonna find anything in that book?
Probably. There's got to be something, right? Maybe like that's how like her and Nolan would communicate to each other. They'd leave notes in the book.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah, like because this could go back to like when they were both living at home, as kids.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got to be something. But yeah, I don't know where else Taylor has to go. I guess back to the cabin, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that's all my questions for you, sir. Are you
All
ready
right.
to go to Theory Corner?
Yeah, we'll touch briefly in there. There's not like again too much to go off of, so we'll give it a shot. Oh wait, sorry, not Theory Corner, but let's step
Office
into
hours.
Office hours.
Sorry, I robbed you of saying it. I was just like, what were we calling it? And then I
That's
remembered,
okay.
so I blurted it out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're the one who came up with the title.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you get to say it. All right, so let's quickly go through this. I think that a lot of the technology and things that is happening is coming from Booker and Beacon Guard. But maybe the more physical things that are happening are coming from Mason, and they're like maybe piggybacking off of it because they're seeing what is going on and following them. Mason is still using it to control them, like I said earlier, of trying to be the Nolan, trying to have this like perfect life, someone doing his homework so he doesn't have to skate through, or he can skate through on things and like be the cool guy and be on top. Whereas Beacon Guard is just trying to torture these poor kids because it has access to everything. But it's like really breaks down for me. Like this whole thing is like, but what else is Beacon Guard doing? Or, we have to at least find out that Taylor what is Taylor searching for? What is Beacon Guard actually doing? I mean, it's collecting all this data on people and potentially on students. Maybe that's where Jeremy comes in here. Cause if we're talking about what you're talking about, maybe he's like working in large models on like medical things. Maybe they're like profiling kids or something. If it actually really gets into that, that'd be interesting. Because this would be like of the times, but a little bit ahead of the curve of like where we are now with like privacy concerns and like access to like.
When did GDPR come out?
That was in like 2018, I think.
I was just thinking of just like data privacy and like global, like, well, I mean, I guess that was specifically the UK, but it impacted global because if you had a global website, you had to comply.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. The EU kind of like clamping down on this. Yeah, so it's of the time too. But I'm just if it's also he's doing like large data analysts, like how does that play into what the data is being stored on from the Beacon Guard system? Like what are they using to do that? And a lot of concerns now of like what are potential organizations doing with large data on individuals, worrying about like profiling and things like that. So maybe that plays into this. We may not get an answer because again, it was canceled at 10 episodes and it was not meant to only be 10 episodes. Unlike The Acolyte, which is like, I think supposed to wrap up at 8 episodes. And then like, I have not watched the final one, but it feels like there should be more. I don't know. Anyways, my complaint over. And I think that's kind of it for our mysteries. And I think still Claire works for Beacon Guard, but is not the head of Beacon Guard, and it's like spun out of her control.
Okay.
Like maybe she was the CEO that got like, that is like no longer really in control of the company and is only like CEO, like name only or something, like that kind of corporate intrigue.
Yeah.
So.
Or she just invested in it.
Right. She was the Elon Musk to Tesla. She's out there on Twitter saying the craziest shit.
Have you seen Claire's Twitter?
Don't go to Claire's Twitter. Anyways, she would be a large donor for Republicans, though. I have no doubt about it.
But we don't think that she's donating to She's the number one donor on
Caitlin's mom's.
Yeah, and Caitlin's mom
is a huge donor for the school.
But also, Caitlyn has 2 moms. And while I know there are lesbian Republicans, it seems like a lesbian politician Republican
That's true.
seems unlikely. So I do think these are just bad liberals.
Right. Yeah, they're rich liberals.
Yeah, they're rich people. Rich people are all bad.
Terrible.
I mean, I'd love to be one. But
Exactly. You know what Dylan should have brought to school? A guillotine.
His study is on the French Revolution.
That's right.
He is writing French pieces.
That's what they actually should be doing in the quad. I keep getting so annoyed that they meet in the middle of the quad. Like, we need to keep a low profile.
Well, they're being seen together. That's good.
Yeah, that's true. In the middle of the night?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, that's where they break off to then go to their dorms.
Nah, I guess.
It's the center of
nicest dorms imaginable. Can you imagine? I live in those dorms now.
It's like the Yale dorms in Gilmore Girls. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh my God, Yale actually has really nice dorms.
It's wild to me. Just cram me in a closet everywhere else.
Yeah, it wasn't a triple in a...
Anyways.
So.
That's it for office hours.
Thank you for being here.
See you next time. Goodbye.
You'll get extra credit for coming.
That's right. Points for everybody.
Just like Whose Line?
Exactly. This sketch is for Colin and Ryan.
Any final thoughts?
Okay.
Sorry. You can finish your joke.
That's okay.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Never mind. I don't need to keep trying to think of Whose Line jokes based around this. But no, that's it.
Save it for later.
Yeah.
When you put on your bishop hat.
That's right. This one's called Bad Bishop.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Final thoughts?
Nah, yeah, nothing else.
All right. Well,
you can find this podcast on all your audio podcast platforms of choice at Dead Ends. You can also find us on YouTube at Dead_Ends. You can watch the videos, see our friendly smiling faces and our bodies moving around.
You can never see my smile, though, because I am completely hidden behind
the mask. It's kind of like watching Wilson do a podcast. And then, not the volleyball, the guy from Home Improvement.
I was going to say, I don't know how well known Home Improvement
that is. There's a sitcom in the 90s. Tim the Toolman Taylor. Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
JTT.
That's right. Our Lord and Savior. Hope he's doing well. I don't know what he's... I don't know who he is.
I know nothing about him.
He's Veronica Mars for an episode. Great episode. That's a tremendous episode of Veronica
It's one
Mars.
of our best performing episodes of our podcast, of this podcast, before it became a Pretty Little Liars podcast when you posted it on YouTube. And I think it's solely because it has JT in the title. So when people search his name, it gets a view. It was good SEO. Good job.
Thank you.
That's
Truly, that's one of the best episodes, though. That's the first Logan and Veronica kiss.
Oh.
They go investigating after him, and they think he's like a shooter.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was like, I forgot.
Yeah. And you can...
I remember based on kisses.
When did the kiss happen? It's hard in this show, you know. There's so many kisses.
There's honestly not enough kisses in the show.
Actually, in this...
I'm waiting for some... Okay, if Allison's single, do we get to have, like, feral Allison? Because I'm here for it.
I hope we get a fun, at least, like, romantic thing with Mona, too.
Yeah.
Anyways, you can... Oh, wait. You can also find us on YouTube. We did that. We also post updates and things now on co-host. Revive that page. You can find posts there, and I'll post it when the shows go live, all that good stuff. And then you can also send us emails with your questions or just like comments and things to deadendspcast@gmail.com. Also leave comments on our videos. Apparently you can leave comments on Spotify now. I do not log into Spotify, so...
We won't ever see them.
Yeah. So I guess post away. Anyways...
Or maybe send them to us in a different avenue as well if you want us to see them.
That's true. Deadendspcast.
I was like, scream into nothing. It's a little rude.
I mean, who am I to tell you what to do? That's it. We're still here. We're going to find out everything until at least we're canceled.
That's true. Also, we've we're recording this about a week in advance, but we did post a survey or survey
Oh yeah.
on
Yeah,
YouTube asking if people thought if we should do Riverdale or after we do Original Sin and everything PLL, if we should go into Riverdale through the connection of the show creators, or if we should go over to Lost. And currently it is tied. Well, now Riverdale's winning.
Riverdale has a 1 vote lead.
Okay, so really they're tied because I voted. But don't let that influence you because I am happy to do either.
What did she vote for? We don't know.
I said it's ahead and they're tied. I trust that they can do math better than you.
Hey everybody, Brenton in the edit. After about 4 days of polling, we've got a pretty clear winner. So we are definitely going to move on to a Riverdale unit after this and cover Riverdale and all the other live action Archieverse stuff. And who knows what else, but at least those. So thanks for voting, and really excited to hit that next.
All right, well, you're still here.
Oh, I already did this.
We're still here, and we love you.
Goodbye.
Okay, love you, bye.
Love you.